to the past.
No. See, you have a
Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is not top 3 manager in the world today.
Oh, jeez.
He is not top 3 manager in the world today.
See, if you have a
he is not top 3 manager in the. You see, if you have a all that Pep Guardiola had, the all that Pep Guardiola had is gone.
You sack Pep for.
Anybody goes to meet City, they are not scared.
Sammy, tell me you sack Pep for.
No,
but you can sack Xavi for a lot of people. You can sack Amorim for a lot of people.
You can sack Amorim for who?
Sack and Slot for a lot. There are a lot
sack Amorim for who?
There are a lot of Amorims around. There are a lot of William Nagelsmanns around. But
hello guys, we are back after the international break. It's Sports 101 and we have club football back this weekend and we are excited about it. I don't know, some of us are not really enthusiastic about international football. Club football is the ish. And if you want all the updates, pre-game analysis, it's here on Sports 101. So like, subscribe, share, and follow us on all social media platforms. On Sports 101, let's know what you think in the comment section. There are interesting fixtures this weekend. Top of that list is the Manchester derby. Pep Guardiola hosts Ruben Amorim and Manchester United at the Etihad. It's Manchester City against Manchester United. We'll get into that conversation proper as the guys return from the international break. Obviously, we know Onana probably will not be in Manchester because he's going to have his medical in Turkey. There are some injury issues with Manchester City as well. Chelsea are also in the news. Chelsea are going to be playing away at Brentford. Liverpool also going away to Burnley in the English Premier League in Italy. There are blockbuster fixtures. Yes, Juventus also playing against Inter Milan. And then there's also Fiorentina hosting Napoli in the Italian Serie A. So we have some early big games in the Italian Serie A this weekend. In Spain, Real Madrid are going away to Sociedad and Barcelona would host Valencia. Atletico Madrid playing at home to Villarreal. These are very, very interesting fixtures. There's been some stories concerning Barca and Hansi Flick talking about egos creeping into the Barcelona dressing room. Lamine Yamal, since that new contract and the number 10 jersey, it seems like dude has been, growing some wings in that dressing room. We look at the positive aspect, we look at the negative aspect of that and what's happening in the Barcelona dressing room. We also look at the first 3 games of the season for Real Madrid coach Xabi Alonso and how they are flying in the La Liga. He's still trying new things with the team, and so we'll see if he can usurp this Barca side. They are top of the league as it stands now, thereabout, and they are doing something really, really right. And so we'll delve into all these conversations and have proper pre-game analysis for these weekend fixtures. Remember, the Fantasy Premier League is also on, so the code is just down there on the screen. Join the Fantasy Premier League. It's Sports 101 Fantasy Premier League, and you stand the chance of winning 3,000 Ghana cedis at the end of the season. So if you missed match week 1, 2, and 3, you can still join. The league is still very, very young. There are about 35 games to go, so you can join using this code, and let's have fun on the Sports 101 Fantasy Premier League. Okay, the guys are seated. Kofi is here. Yeah. Blackie is here. 2 very controversial figures, and they look to be in very, very high spirits. Guys, Premier League football, La Liga football, club football in general is back.
Yeah, we're back.
I don't know if you had an exciting break, but I'm not really enthusiastic about.
Oh yeah, I did. I think that for Team Otto, we are on course to qualifying for the World Cup.
It was unnecessary pressure.
But we are still on course to qualifying for the World Cup. And for me, that is the most important thing. So I think that, having the break away from club football and then switching to Team Otto and to think that Ghana is almost on the verge of qualifying to the World Cup, that is beautiful news for me.
It wasn't too beautiful for some other countries like Nigeria who are all but out of it. even qualifying as one of the second best placed teams looks very far-fetched for the Super Eagles. We talked about this. We analyzed that game and we said that the best for them in South Africa would be a draw.
And true to our word, it looks like the South Africans have really put on a show, and it goes back to the age-old debate about the fact that you don't necessarily need a plethora of superstars who are not playing as a team to make a team. And I think that that's the situation Nigeria finds itself in. They are blessed with most of the players. I mean, maybe they are blessed in a biased manner with most of the forward players, you understand? But you look through the whole complexion of the team and you would probably want to see the balance. You would want to see the parts fitting together nicely. Sorry, it's not always the case with the Nigerian team. This time around, it looks like, yes, they are blessed with a lot of attacking players, but there is seemingly no balance in that Nigerian team. And I think that it will be quite tragic for their football if they do not get to qualify for the World Cup. I have paid close attention to the Cape Verde group also. Cape Verde just needs 2 points to qualify for the World Cup.
They beat Cameroon.
Yes, and they are ahead of Cameroon. I think that is also quite a feat.
To be there for one good reason. Their women. We get to see a lot of great images come out from US, Mexico, Canada, wherever they are stationed. I don't know if you watched the AFCON, but
wow.
They were a sight to behold.
Wow.
And,
I want to go to Cape Verde.
I remember telling Madam that hopefully before the year ends, let's put some vacation together. And my target is Cape Verde.
Wow.
But
you want to hide behind Madam to go to Cape Verde?
Oh no, but visa free.
Wow.
So all you need is your plane ticket. And
wow.
So when you go there, you know what you are going to look for.
No, I'm just going to. It's vacation. We're just going to have vacation. We're just going to have.
Have you seen them?
Oh yeah.
You know when they say something is a work of art.
They have to be at the work.
Those are the Cape Verdeans. Those are the Brazilians. You understand? Those are the Colombians. Understand? What beautiful work of art.
It's all part. I think that the World Cup, when you go to the World Cup, what happens outside of the stadium, it's more exciting than what happens inside because it's an adventure. You get to meet different people, different cultures, and so for a team like Nigeria missing out back to back, if they miss out this time around, you can see where that is going to hurt them as a team, as a country. And all of that, but kudos to the Cape Verdean side. Another country that could have sealed qualification could have been Congo DR.
Yeah, and for me, I think that Senegal proved why they are the big boys of African football, even though now a lot of people are not talking about them after the departure of Sisi. I think that right now the attention is on Morocco and the North Africans. But 2 days ago, Senegal proved why they are the big boys of African football and why just about 3-4 years ago, they were African champions. They were down by 2-0 on the road. You look at the stadium was packed, it was full to capacity. They literally played against the odds. They clawed their way back, and to win by 3-2 in such a manner they did it. I mean, it's testament of their character, and there's one man you can always trust that he will lead the team to wherever the team needs to be, and it's Sadio Mane. I saw a video of how he was motivating the boys and all of that. I saw a video of the former Koulibaly calling their president, and it tells you how it meant to the team. And for me, these are some of the things that the other African countries should consider. It shouldn't always be about the money, the bonuses. It's about the pride in representing your country and what it means to the very people that you claim you are representing, if it's the Senegalese, if it's the Ghanaians, the Nigerians. And so I'm excited. It's going to be an interesting group. Right now, Senegal lead DR Congo by just a single point, and there are 2 more games to go. DR Congo are yet to taste the defeat in the qualifiers. And so the last 2 games is going to be very interesting. I still believe that DR Congo is too strong for a lot of the teams in the group, and I would not be surprised if they win their remaining two games in the group. But again, it all boiled down to whether they place first or second. Even if they place second, I still think that they are well placed to even go ahead and qualify, whether whoever they decide to meet from the Commonwealth region or the Oceania region. But it's been an interesting, international break. Very exciting games, like you guys have said, and we hope to come next month, we hope to conclude the games and we'll have finality to the teams from Africa that have qualified for the World Cup. Hopefully Ghana will be there. We might just be there to cheer them.
Well, for the World Cup qualifiers, it is 6 teams in a group of 9 groups from the African continent. So there are 9 groups of 6 teams each in each group, and the top teams from each group would automatically qualify to the World Cup, meaning automatic 9 places for Africa. And then there are 4 second best teams that would play in a mini competition, a knockout competition. So they'll be paired 2 against 2, and there will be a final game, and that final game would give Africa that last representative. However, you go into another international competition if you win from the African scene, from that top 4, and then you come up against teams from CONCACAF, teams from CONMEBOL, teams from the Asian FC, and somewhere down there in New Zealand, Australia. So there would be another 6-team competition where they call the playoffs, where teams from all these regions will come up against each other. Now, where it's a bit dicey is that the top 2 teams out of those 6 teams via FIFA rankings automatically qualify to the 2 finals. So there are 2 finals, and then the top 2 teams from FIFA rankings out of those 6 teams automatically qualify to the 2 finals, and then the other 4 also play a semi-final, and then whoever wins those 2 semi-finals will come up against the top 2 teams in those 2 finals. Now, when that happens, it means that the winners of those 2 finals now make up the final 2 that will go via the playoff to the World Cup. So it's a bit complicated, but I hope that helps. Before we get into the top fixtures for the European leagues this weekend, quickly, when you see how the African terrain has gone, you've seen Congo. They lost their spot to Senegal. We saw the violence after, but they are still in it. We've seen Cape Verde beat Cameroon. Now they are close to the World Cup. We've seen South Africa almost qualifying to the World Cup at the expense of Nigeria and the likes. We have automatic 9 places for Africa. Now, is it about the current crop of quality that we have, like Cape Verde and the likes, going there to do a good job, or experience will really play an important key? So if the likes of Nigeria, for example, do not qualify to the World Cup, does it hurt Africa? Would South Africa do a better job going to the World Cup? Would Cape Verde do a better job going to the World Cup ahead of Cameroon? Or we just need those big names to go there?
Now, the point is that those big names in the past have always disappointed us. You understand? I mean, if you look at the history of African football at the World Cup, you realize that there have been big names who have made the representation time without number, but some of them have not made any impact. I mean, we can cite the Tunisians, we can cite the Nigerians, even the Ivorians, until the Ghanaians did it, and later was equaled by the Senegalese, the early 2000s Senegalese. And then you look at the recent feat by the Moroccans. I think that football is growing now, and it's about who prepares very well. We need to realize that, yes, I mean, you can have all the superstitions you want to ascribe to football. I do not think experience necessarily plays a part in football in terms of the pedigree of the nation. You understand? I think that experience will only play a part if you have put your house right. You understand? I mean, because we've cited a 1,001 example. Nigeria has always been there. What has been their impact at the World Cup? They've always been there. They've always been there from the days of Yakubu Aigbeni to
Maybe
what's
you
the
can
name?
cast your days back to the 94, Rashid Yakini,
second round in
Amon
98.
Emmanuel, Amonike, all of those, yes, all of those brilliant, all of those brilliant players. They've been there, but they've never made that impact. And when I say an impact, previously there was a threshold Africa could not go beyond. You understand? The Roger Miller-led Cameroonian team did it in the early 90s, put Africa on the map somewhat. You understand? Exactly. With all of the feats that they had to go through and put Africa there, it took another generation for an African team to surpass that mark. So I think that being there means that there's that threshold that Africa needs to go over finally. And for me, I think that most of the teams have been there. They've not really had an impact. So I am happy with the new generation African teams. I look at the Cape Verdeans, I look at the South Africans, I look at the DR Congos potentially. I think they are not all about the talent. Football has gone beyond just having talent. It's about the job you do off and away from the field. You understand? Because look, it's no surprise that the World Cup has been won by only a League of Nations. I'm told only 6 nations have won the World Cup.
Uruguay,
between 6 and 8.
Yeah, I mean, they are no more than 8.
Brazil,
You understand?
yeah,
8. Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that only 8 countries out of the many countries in the world have won the World Cup. It is not rocket science. If you trace back, you realize that these 8 countries do not just abound in soccer talent on the field, but they have some of the very top administrators in football. You understand? They have some of the top managerial heads in football. So it's not really about going there for the frenzy. It's about going there and trying to make a mark. Because I've always told people that being at the World Cup is the one thing that potentially could sell your country more than any advertisement you could run on any of the international media. So being there, I think that I have a lot of faith in this new generation. You look at Cape Verde, they are not so blessed with talents like the West Africans. You understand? But what they lack for in talents, they make for in administration. So they make for in proper infrastructure. So yes, they are late bloomers, but you realize that they've put together beautiful edifices fit for purpose. You understand? In terms of the infrastructure. And then you look at the administrative side of the game, they are top notch when it comes to those particular variables. So those are the things that I am excited about. I mean, and potentially it could be a mix of experience and then the newcomers, you understand? Because potentially Ghana will be there, Egypt will be there. You could even have Cameroon being there. You could have Senegal being there. No, Cameroon looks far-fetched. You understand? Unless probably they go through the route too. But you could have Ivory Coast being there. You could have Senegal being there.
Yeah.
So there's the mix of Morocco is going to be there. Algeria is going to be there. You understand? So it could be a mix of the very experienced. I think that this could potentially represent the best Africa has had to put up in ages.
Like I'm coming. Do you think that it gives Africa that X factor? Because if you have Ghana going to the World Cup or Morocco going to the World Cup, these are teams that are already known on the world stage. And so whichever teams they are paired against know how to prepare for them. But if you have a Cape Verde or you have a DR Congo going to the World Cup at this time, they have nothing to lose. They are going to have fun, going to enjoy themselves. The teams they come up against, they look like this surprise package, so you don't know what to expect. And does it give Africa that X factor?
No, I don't think there is any X factor in here. I mean, cast your mind back to when Angola, with the likes of Manucho, made the World Cup for the first time. Nobody had played them. Most of these countries in Europe had not played them. They were disgraced at the World Cup. They were booted out. It's not about the representation. It's
Togo
about
as well.
Togo as well. So it's not about these are teams that most European countries have not played before, know very little about. It's about preparation. The World Cup is no joke playing ground or the World Cup is no, ground for you to go and play. It's not a place where you go there to just have fun. It's for the big boys. That's why if you don't prepare, when you get there, you get disgraced. And like Kofi said, there's a reason why just a handful of teams have won the World Cup. There's a reason why just a select few have won the World Cup. Now, even in the midst of the few, those who are those who are failing to do things right are being left behind. A typical example is Brazil. The last time Brazil won the World Cup was in 2002. How many years ago now? More than 10 years ago now. Almost 23 years ago now. For a country like Brazil, when you talk about the World Cup, it's Brazil. But you see, it's not, you have to prepare. Brazil over the years have failed to do certain things right. They used to rely, we're Brazil, we are the big boys of world football, we have some of the best talents in the world. Right now, football has gone beyond just having talent. Football is not about, I cannot put together Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká. At some point, Brazil had Rivaldo. These guys were all in one team, and we could go 2002 World Cup and dismantle everybody. Look at Germany. The last time they won the World Cup was in 2014. They're in 2025. They're struggling. During the qualifiers, up until they beating Northern Ireland, they had gone 4 games without a single victory. So if you don't prepare, you'll be left behind. You watch teams like Spain. These guys have prepared, and they've prepared very well. I look at the teams that have qualified. I could say just about 2 teams currently are ready for the World Cup if the World Cup is played now. Spain is ready. Morocco is ready. Argentina is ready because they can give you a solid team any day, any given day. So for me, for Africa, it's not about surprise. It's not about experience. Listen, Nigeria is experienced, Ghana is experienced, Cote d'Ivoire is experienced. These teams are lagging behind, not because they have experience or they do not have quality. Look at the plethora of players Nigeria have to present at every single game. I keep telling people that the problem with Nigeria, Ghana is not, I think we have Ghana is blessed with producing quality defenders and midfielders. That has been our thing. On the African scene, once in a while, one great attacker pops up and is singled out in the Ghanaian team, but we are always blessed with quality midfielders and defenders. Nigeria do not have that luxury. Over the years, their quality has always been in attack. Look at Yakini, Amonike, Amokachi, Kanu. The list is endless. They know how to produce, attackers. Agahoa, there was this guy, was his name Victor Agahoa or something
Julius.
like that. Julius Agahoa, Bafemi Mat. They always produce strikers and forwards. They are not so much blessed with midfielders and defenders. Once in a while, you get that one midfielder, one defender. Apart from Taribo West and maybe Joseph Yobo, how many of these top Nigerian defenders have they produced? So the point is, how have they studied their system? This is what we are known for. How can we build on what we are known for to get the best? So I think that is about preparation. Teams like Cape Verde, they've prepared. Teams like Comoros, they are not sitting down and waiting for you to, we have the big boys, we have the names. No, they are preparing. Morocco, we look at the stadiums and facilities they built to host the AFCON in 3 months' time. They are prepared. Teams like Spain, they are preparing. They could easily call on junior teams and the 20 and the 23 teams, bringing quality. But for Africa, hey, it's all about, let's call the European guys, let them come, no. Look at South Africa. South Africa is a clear example of, it's not about the names, it's not about marquee players, it's about preparing. So if it's got to do with homegrown players, how can we get the best of the homegrown players? And most of these so-called big boys are failing to do that. So for me, you can have all the big names, big players. If you get there and you are not ready, the World Cup will expose you. That's why if you are not a big team and a team that is prepared, the World Cup always exposes you. Look at what Italy is going through. They've changed coaches more than 5 times in the last 2 years. They have been still struggling. And so you may be a big boy globally, but on that stage where you are not prepared, you cannot sail through the team that are prepared.
Well, quickly, let's get into the big games for this weekend. And the biggest of all, in the Premier League, it's Manchester City against United. Referee Anthony Taylor would be in the center for that game. And United have a couple of players doubtful. Yes, we know that Lisandro Martinez is out. But Diogo Dalot is out. It's doubtful. There's Mason Mount and Cunha, who we are not sure would be in the team. For Pep Guardiola, he has quite a lot of headache.
Trouble on his hands,
There's Ryan Cherky, there's Kusanov, Jones doubtful, Vadio doubtful, Kovacic, Phillips, Mamouche is out, Rico Lewis has a knock, Savinho, Phil Foden, not too sure. And so how he's going to set up his team at the Etihad against United, we've seen Benjamin Sesko as well play 90 minutes for his national team during this international break. Probably might be ready to start a Premier League game for United. We'll look at the new goalkeeper coming in. As Amorim going to throw him into the fray at Etihad against Manchester City in his debut, or he sticks with Bayender and then let the new goalkeeper Lemi Samens, that's his name, come in gradually, or integrate him gradually into the team. This is a big game. As it stands now, both teams are a bit shaky. United on 4 points, City on 3 points. It's been a while. We've seen, going into a Manchester derby where United are ahead of Manchester City. What exactly are we expecting for this game? Looking at the situation on ground, and where is the tactical battle going to be won and lost?
Or two brilliant managers. A battle of a manager of yesteryear and a manager who is primed for the future. I think Pep is gone. He's done. Nobody can convince me Pep is not gone. I think he should have walked away from the game last season. If he does stay, maybe I'll make a prophecy on this show. City will be terrible under his jurisdiction going forward, because he doesn't seem to have any idea what is happening to City, and he doesn't seem to have the requisite skill sets to arrest the rot at City. I mean, if you want to go back to last season and the run that City has been on, terrible, sackable, but it's Pep Guardiola, it's Manchester City, they are a small team. Probably Pep Guardiola in their history is the biggest manager, and so they would have to accommodate him. But I mean, back to the game proper. Yeah. I do not see why all of these injuries are being ascribed as potential would be defenses against either of the managers.
He's losing some of his best players.
Who?
He's losing some of his best players.
Who?
Mamouche is out. He's not going to be in the game.
Mamouche.
Ryan Cherky is out.
Mamouche in the first 2 months was brilliant. He's not really had a say in what City have done in the Premier League in the last few months. You understand? Cherky, yes, he's settling in. He's yet to cut that cult figure status at City.
The silver lining is that they'll probably have Donnarumma in goal if Pep decides to start him.
That's fine. But did you watch Donnarumma against Israel?
I did. Just a bit. He's rusty. He's not really had any games this season.
If you watched Italy against Israel,
just like
you'd realize that he was a calamity waiting to happen. But back to the game proper, I think that if you go back to the tie between the managers, Amorim has had the better of the battle against Pep Guardiola. I mean, from his days at Sporting Lisbon, back to even last season, and even at the Etihad last season, Manchester United went down by a goal very early in that game, eventually won 2-1 with that brilliant Ahmad goal at the end, you understand? And so I expect that if you watch the way United are playing this season, Sammy, you realize that they are closing in on the gap against especially the big boys. You understand? I've watched the way United played against Arsenal. I've watched some of the games they have played. I think that if
lost against City in a couple of games.
Yes, I think that if United go into the game with that confidence, with that panache, with that mentality. Player for player, I do not think that City now can say they are ahead of Manchester United. Maybe a few years ago, yes, you understand. But I look at the quality at City now. I want to look at the quality at United now. I don't think the City are too far ahead of Manchester United. I think there's a level playing ground. It's down to who wants the game the most, and it's down to who is able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. You understand? So for some strange reason, I tip Amorim to have this one. I think that Amorim has a remedy for everything that Pep Guardiola throws at him. And for me, it won't be any different going into the weekend. It will be fiery, it will be full of action, but I tip Manchester United to win based on the recent meetups between Ruben Amorim and then Pep Guardiola from his days at Sporting, meeting City in the Champions League and coming to the APL proper, and then doing all of the things that they have done. I tip Manchester United to get some sort of results at the Etihad.
Lucky, yeah. City have not beaten United in their last 4 meetings. We are seeing the struggles of Pep. Some are saying that he's not really found himself in a situation like this where, injuries and, some of those things distorting how he wants to play. But Rodri is back in the team. There's Tijani Rangers back in the team. So he's probably going to have a midfield of Bernardo Silva, Tijani Rangers, and Rodri. Up top is where we are not so sure because, yes, Haaland is there. He got a couple of goals during the international break. There's Oscar Bob. But on the other side, Mamouche is doubtful. The shaky is also injured. He's out. Then Phil Foden might come in.
Phil Foden also has
how Pep is going to fit this team together with United. They have their own troubles. But looking at both sides and then United going away to the Etihad, what exactly are we to expect in this game?
I think that it's going to be an interesting game. Like you said, these two sides, it's not necessarily about form. Anytime they play each other, it's more about pride. It's more about, who has the bragging right. So it's about a team that wants it on the day. And anytime in the last couple of games, anytime United have come to the Etihad, they've come there to prove a point. And they've always gotten the result in the last couple of games that they come to the Etihad. So for me, it's always going to be about who wants it the most and who wants to make the biggest noise. And as you speak, Manchester United wants to prove that, hey, we are in a way, we are back. And so they would want to do one over City. I mean, one of the potential possible winners of the Premier League this season. United played against one of the big boys. They lost against, Arsenal. They drew at Fulham. And they won at home to Burnley, albeit not so convincing, but they won with 4 points. City themselves, their first game on the road, they beat Wolves very, very convincingly at home. As always, a banana peel. Tottenham Hotspur, they lost against Spurs. On the road against Brighton, another banana peel. Last season, the same game, they lost 2-1. So it's more of, teams that City struggle against. And these are teams that City have been struggling against. But against United, like I said, it's a derby game. And nobody should tell me the injuries will not come to play. You do not lose 13 players, 7 of them are starters in your team, and you tell me it will not have an influence on your team, especially when you are trying to rebuild. Albeit that is not an excuse, and I've not heard Pep Guardiola complain. I've not heard anybody from Manchester City complain. It's just an information that is out there that he's lost a couple of players, and obviously have an impact on the selection because in the game against Wolves, he went for a typical 4-1-4-1 formation. He just Rodri sitting just in front of the defense with Mamouche, Bernardo Silva, and Tijani Rangers, as well as Oscar Bob as the four-man prone attack with Erling Haaland leading their lines. And I don't think that he will try and change anything. The only thing that we might see here is he might probably have extra bodies in the middle of the pack to help Rodri, because Rodri is just also recovering from an Achilles knee injury. We saw him in the Spanish national team. He came off, but it will take him time to get the best out of Rodri. So we might likely see a pairing between Rodri and Nico Gonzalez in the middle of the pack with, as you said, Bernardo Silva dropping deep, with Tijani Riders moving a bit forward because of the absence of, Mamouche in there. And in this game, we might be tempted to see, Jeremy Doku start because of the absence of some of these players. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think that, like I've said, it's going to be about the team that wants it the most. Manchester United, typical, 3-5-2, formation, or sometimes it metamorphoses to, a 4-2-3-1, depending on how, when they are in transition or when, they are defending. But I expect to be a very tactical, game. I expect it to be more or less like, a chess piece. Pep trying to move the pieces around to see how either Amorim would react, or Amorim would try to move the pieces around to see whether Pep will react. It will be difficult for me to predict this game.
You can't predict who wins this game.
It will be very, very difficult because I feel that I don't think Donnarumma will start. He's a bit rusty. He needs to be at the bench, steady the terrain. He will eventually become the starter in here because you don't have a big boy who's won the Champions League, who's won the European Cup, who's seen it all at the biggest stage, be on the bench. I think eventually he will start. But we might see, James Trafford in the team. It's defense that Manchester City have always struggled, and they've struggled in the last 2 seasons. Ruben Diaz has not been the Ruben Diaz of about 3 seasons ago. He is the reason they lost against, Brighton. That terrible mistake, because up until the time Kushanov, got injured and went off, he was brilliant on the day. But now, who is going to be the centre-back pairing? We're told that it's going to be a Kushanov and Vadio when they are fit. But right now, both of them are out. So is it going to be Ruben Diaz, who we know struggles, and John Stones? Nobody even knows if he's fit. Nori, we don't know whether he's fully fit to start. As for the right back, we know it's either going to be Rico Lewis or Nunes. So City have a problem defensively, but on the other hand, United do not have any worry defensively, because I have a feeling that we might just see the partnership of Delete and Maguire. We might see or I don't know how you will decide to pair, but United does have a more stable
Maguire
defense.
hasn't started this season.
Maybe because of experience. So maybe you might see Delete, Euro, your man Dogu and Luke Shaw in defense, and that's for me is one thing that every team that wants to progress needs: a very stable defense and a very stable midfield. City have not had that in about 2 seasons now. They, on any given day, you don't even know who is starting for City in defense. But United have had that. And that's one trump card that United have. In the middle of the park, that's always been their problem. And you've spoken about it on countless occasions. Who is going to be there to do the mop-up job, to do the transitioning when they have to transition from defense to attack? Is it going to be good old Casemiro? We know his struggles. Or is he going to pair Casemiro and Bugatti? How is he going to maneuver around? Because on any given day, City have a much more stronger midfield than Manchester United. In attack, United are good to go. They have Brian Mbeumo, very, very good player, knows the terrain very well. Matthias Cunha will not be in there, but I have a feeling that he might just start Benjamin Sesko in this game. Ahmad will definitely play this game. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going, like Ovi said, it's going to be a tactical battle, but I think that it's not going to be won because one manager is more tactically brilliant than the other. It's going to be because either a team will commit some comical error or one team wants it the most on the day.
Finally, on this game, let's look at the managers. You have Amorim, who is under fire, under a lot of pressure to deliver. He's already lost. He is under pressure. Maybe not from the board, but this is Manchester United.
It's the fans.
If United draw a game or lose a game, we see the ripple effect. City have lost 2 games. Nobody's really talking about them. Now, these are 2 teams coming up against each other. Whichever manager loses this game, we know there will be a lot of talk about Amorim if he loses this game. But if we analyze Manchester City, should City start looking beyond Pep Guardiola if Guardiola loses this game?
No, I don't think City would look beyond Pep Guardiola if City loses this game, because they have faith in him. If he wanted to stay for God knows how long, like Tiki Bergestani has come out to say, if he wanted to stay for 10 years, they would have given him a 10-year contract. He himself has decided that, listen, I would extend it for 2 years, try and see if I can put a team together before I leave. I don't think that they will talk about sacking him or anything. And likewise, I don't think that, Ruben Amorim, his job is under any kind of threat. It's one of the big games in the Premier League. It's been for a while, despite United have not been at the best of form. For Pep, we know the challenges that he's going through or he went through last season. I always tell people that this team was supposed to be built, and I think we agreed last season or last 2 seasons they didn't do that. So this season is the season they are trying to put the pieces together and rebuild from there. And so they've brought in a couple of new players, defensively, attacking wise, midfield wise, trying to see if we can add them to.
No, it seems like you're making excuses.
No, I'm not making excuses.
It's very simple.
The point is,
the issue started since last season.
The point is,
it will be a big deal if United even draw that game.
For City?
Yes.
No, it will not be
because now it's like you are lagging behind. United is already 9th.
That's the issue.
It will be a big deal. But if Pep loses that game, people might not really talk about it. But should City start looking beyond him?
The reason why they will
not already lost 2 games this season.
This is not the first. The time City won their 4th trophy in a row, they lost their first 3 games. As in, they won their first game, drew their second game, lost their remaining 3. So it's not that City. This is new to City. The only thing that is new is that this kind of slump, like Kofi said, it's not Pep.
He didn't just start this season.
I'm talking about last season. 12 games, in a calendar as a season for Pep is a new thing, this low. But even in that, he has not finished below the 3rd position. That should tell you that he still finds a way. This is a team he builds. And I keep telling people, the only remaining commander in this team when he took over is John Stones. That should tell you that 9 years on, the team has transitioned. He's trying to put a team together. This season, they will have their patches. He would have his patches. He will lose games. But for me, the key is, does he have the answers to City's problems? And that's where Kofi went there. Is he done? Because you may sit behind and ask, why can't he remedy the situation? Is he a bad manager? God knows. He's the best manager in the world currently. You can say whatever you want to say. He might retire as arguably the most influential manager in the history of football. But at the moment, is he done? Because at every point in time, every manager gets to the point where I can go again. Jose Mourinho got to the point where he cannot even coach any team to any major trophy. Managers get there. So the point is that, and Kofi rightly said, is he done? Kofi believes he's done.
No, but
I don't think that he's done yet.
Sami, how do you sit on air and then tell us that Pep Guardiola is the best manager in the world currently?
Well, again, it's opinionated.
How can you do that?
I think he is the best manager in the world.
On which parameter?
It depends on however you see it. But the point I'm trying to make here is,
manager that went trophyless last season.
A lot of
best
managers,
manager in the world.
Maybe
you could say he's the best manager
in the last decade.
The best manager a few years ago or in the last decade.
But how can you tell me he's the best manager in the world?
He could have gone trophyless last season, but he's still the best manager in the world. That's my opinion. And I would stand by it any day, any time.
But that's a biased opinion.
The point is, and I would probably want to analyze that very well. Is he really done? Kofi believes that he's done because if a manager of your caliber, you cannot remedy the situation almost a year on with all the materials at your availability and with all the materials available to you, I think that we should look at it critically. Why can't he remedy the situation? Where is the problem? That's where I think that the conversation should be. As to his quality, nobody can tell me he's not
problem
quality.
Or not, if Pep found himself in this situation at Real Madrid, irrespective of everything that he could have won, would he still be the manager?
I can't tell because he's not been there. I've seen managers lose. Do you know how many games Lopetegui lost at Real Madrid before he was fired? Do you know how many games Lopetegui lost consecutively at Real Madrid before he was fired?
No, Sami.
Pep loses 2 games his first 3 opening games.
No, we are talking about the precedents that started last season,
and
not just
the point is, if you are judging him this season based on what happened last season, you'll be very, very unfair
because the trend is continuing from last season.
The season is 38 games. Let's get into 12, 15, 20 games. If they are lagging 10, 15 points behind, then we can have this conversation. Again, I think that this game will not be so much of the right game to judge the atmosphere at City because it's a derby game. Teams have
Isn't it supposed to make it even more important?
No, teams have different reasons for playing derby games. Teams are motivated differently for playing derby games. I keep telling people that if you judge Manchester United defeat against Arsenal or their performance against Arsenal and use that as a precedent to want to say certain things about United, you'll be unfair because it was the first game of the season, playing at home. We want to prove a point. New players, we want to give reasons why fans want to believe in us. So sending players who play beyond their capability. I always tell people, when a new manager comes in, takes over at a club, almost everybody wants to prove a point. So you wait, when the dust settles, then we can know the right players or the right situations or the wrong situations. So I think that, again, it would be too early to want to say, let's sack Pep because he's lost to Manchester United. Again, I do not think that he's going to lose to Manchester United. United have their own issues. But whatever United's issues are, whatever City's issues are, I think that collectively, City have enough firepower to overpower Manchester United. This game, I don't think City will lose. I think that worst for them will be a draw.
Well, when we brought in the pep factor, now Lucky has been forced to predict. Initially, you didn't want to predict.
I can't predict. That's what I'm saying.
I disagree with Lucky's submission. Before we get into some of the other games, I don't know what Kofi has to say concerning this issue. If Pep loses to United, should Manchester City start looking beyond Pep? Because we know if Amorim loses this game, that fire would be on him.
Because for me, United fans, I'm sorry to say this,
it's not just about United fans.
United fans, and like Kofi always says, that at some point I didn't agree, but if you look at the way things are, they're still living in an overpumped era where Alex Ferguson won them a lot of trophies, so they were used to winning. Where Manchester United is, they're in a rebuilding phase. I do not know how long the rebuilding will take. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years, but United would need to rebuild. I don't know if they've started or not, but I think that from what I've seen, they've started under Amorim. And United fans need to understand this. Why would you call or come at somebody like Amorim? Because he's trying to rebuild something that has been damaged for years. And you see, United fans are so much so, in a way, some of them, very fickle-minded, that they tend to they are looking for the next possible person to blame. At some point, they were blaming Rashford. They let Rashford go. The problem still persisted. They were blaming Sancho. They let them go, but the problem still persisted. They found a way to blame the manager. They let him go. The problem still persisted. They found a way to blame Onana for their problems. One way or the other, beautiful, Onana is still gone. At the end of the season, if the problem still persists, can United stop scapegoating individuals and look at the collective project? Because if you pick out Amorim, you're scapegoating him for the problems at Manchester. Amorim is not the problem at United. United have a plethora of issues. There's a technical issue, there's a tactical issue. Technical in the sense that the materials available, United need to work on them. And so, whether you may agree or not, I think that the fans can ask for the fans that they want instant results. But for us who sit down and analyze the game, I won't call for Amorim's head. I will not call for Pep Guardiola's head because they've lost 2-3 games. Come on, that would be very amateurish of me.
Well, Kofi, I don't know if you have a response for Lucky.
Well, I'm surprised some of the submissions Lucky has made. I'm utterly surprised. I mean, sits here and comfortably tells us that Pep Guardiola has qualities that cannot remedy the situation. You know, since the problems at City started, Pep Guardiola has outspent more than anybody else has from January, and you still cannot remedy the situation. Then you sit here and tell me the coach has qualities. Which qualities? Which qualities? Which qualities are we talking about? Probably Like he has not played attention.
He's currently the best coach in the world.
That is quite unfortunate. A statement to make.
Pep is
You
the
understand?
best tactical brain we've seen over 2 decades.
You don't sit here and tell me he is the best coach in the world now. How is that possible? You understand? I mean, look, since the slide happened, the problems of City have been repetitive. Have you watched City this season? They don't look like a Pep team. They do not look like a Pep team. They are not playing with confidence. They are not playing with that arrogance. Pep Guardiola teams played with arrogance. They played with confidence. You look at this City team, it does not bear any semblance to anything Pep Guardiola has put together. And then if you tell me that the manager is tactically inclined, that's beautiful. Those are English words. But the point is that you do not go to Brighton last season, suffer the same feat, get the first goal, you are beaten. The next season, same thing happens, there is a slide. You cannot beat Tottenham. You have never beaten Tottenham. And those are the issues that persist. Beyond the issues that persist, you are not playing with an identity. I look at this City team, I wonder where it is that their identity have gone to. Look, when Pep Guardiola burst onto the scene in England, there was a certain style he played with. And when everybody saw City play, there was a certain motion about them. There was a certain arrogance about them. There was a certain identity about them. Can anybody look into the eyes of the camera and tell me that what City played today, there is that arrogance about them, there is that identity about them, there is that confidence about them? Look, when I saw them against Brighton, it looked like the 11 players on the pitch didn't know what they were doing. At a certain point in time, Haaland was so cut off that he cut a frustrated figure. Now, they do not have any fix defensively. Look, the manager has made grave decisions. Why did he let Ederson go? Why bring in James Trafford? What was the point he was trying to prove to anybody? All of the new signings who have been signed, which one of them has come to prominence? Because in the past, we have been told that this is a guy who can spot talent. I dare anybody. All of the players he has signed since January, which one of them has come to prominence and has remedied the situation they find themselves in? No one. And that is why I think that it will only be a fool who lives in the past. And I think that most Pep Guardiola supporters are living in the past. They are not inclined to the bearings of the present. And that for me is quite a dangerous precedent. I am excited if Pep Guardiola and City continues to slide. But the truth is that what Pep has done at City over the last year, any big club in the world will not tolerate those shenanigans. Not Real Madrid, not Barcelona, not even Chelsea. But as always, City is a small club. So, and it looks like whatever it is that Pep Guardiola has done is unprecedented in their history. So they allow certain things to pass. But you cannot have the kind of year Pep Guardiola has had at any big club and not face the sack. And he himself admitted it. That he could not have had that run at any of the elite clubs in the world and still survived. So I don't know why anybody would want to defend that.
So I guess now that there are lots of things that Pep has said that a lot of people say, oh, is Pep Guardiola, he's trying to, play the mind game. He's trying to, right now, because he says that, we should take that as, the gospel.
But he said so. Didn't he say it?
Yes,
Why did he say it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That Pep
No,
has
but
said
that's
a lot of things
why
that
you and I are analysts.
we have said,
No, hold on. Sammy,
Yeah.
hold on. I mean, let's do this dispassionately.
Yeah.
You can have your inclinations to Pep or whichever. That's fine. But the point is simple. Will Barcelona tolerate this?
Barcelona tolerated Xavi last season, 2 seasons ago. They allowed him to go through the motions.
He had a terrible year. He was fine.
Yes, they allowed him to go through
Did City have a terrible year last season? Yes. Are they having a terrible season this far? Yes.
You have
no, hold on. Then you're holding on to the past.
No. See, you have
Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is not top 3 manager in the world today.
Oh, jeez.
He is not top 3 manager in the world today.
See, if you have
he is not top 3 manager in the. You see, the aura that Pep Guardiola had, the aura that Pep Guardiola had is gone.
You sack Pep for who?
Anybody goes to meet City, they are not scared.
Sammy, tell me you sack Pep for who?
No,
but
you can
sack Xavi for a lot of people. You can sack Amorim for a lot of people.
You sack Amorim for who?
Sack Anslot for a lot. There are
you sack Amorim for who?
There are a lot of Amorims around. There are a lot of Julian Nagelsmans around. But there is not so much of Pep Guardiola's around.
No, it's a man of the past.
That is why City have the inclination that no, this is one manager that even in his worst moment, he's arguably, if you are listening to of the greatest managers alive now, you cannot go without.
Maybe 2 of the greatest managers alive, but not 2 of the best.
Exactly.
No.
You have the best
No. He's not a better manager than Flick. He's not a better manager than even Alonso.
I keep telling people.
Come on.
Why?
Let's not get sentimental.
That would be very, very. It's nothing to do with sentiment.
Now,
it definitely
even in the Premier League today, there are better managers in the Premier League more than Guardiola.
I tell people that every manager goes through past patches, and I can start from Ancelotti, his patch at Bayern. They didn't even allow him to complete that patch. They fired him. I could go to some of the so-called managers you claim are the best managers in the world who've had terrible patches and they let them go. Managers go through patches.
But they arrested them.
This is the first
How many of these managers? How many of these managers are given the kind of funding that
money that he has had? Over 500 million pounds.
Ancelotti was bagged at Bayern.
Oh, come on.
Don't kill yourself.
In that kind of money.
During his time at Roma, they outspent everybody in the Italian Serie A.
How much money?
They outspent a club like Roma, a club like AS Roma.
How much money are we talking about here?
Not Inter Milan.
How much money are we talking about here?
He outspent in his last season at Roma. He spent over 180 million euros in recruiting players.
That's a drop in the ocean.
But nobody talks about that. But you see, that's the point. You see, if you go to Brighton and you spend like that, people, blink and blink an eye because it's Brighton. For you to go to Roma and spend that much, people raise an eye. But my point is, every manager goes through that patch. See, Alex Ferguson went through that patch. You go through a patch where in the season, literally, everything goes wrong.
Hold on.
He's gone through that last season.
You see,
the season starts and all of a sudden he should be fine.
How old is Pep Guardiola now?
He's in his 50s.
Yeah, he's inching closer to 60.
Oh, really?
The truth of the matter is, this has come too late for Pep Guardiola.
Too late how?
For a manager like Pep Guardiola, this is an entirely new ground.
Yeah.
And whether he survives it or otherwise, it still remains very unknown.
And that's true.
Because, has he shown any sign?
That's why you don't.
Has he shown any sign that he is about to remedy the situation?
We sit here and we say,
look, Sammy,
give him time.
We are talking about the longest serving manager in the context of the Premier League now. If you're a good manager, like he claims he is, all of the great managers who said 20 plus years, did they go through that kind of slump? No! I don't remember. No. Can you let me make my point? Can you let me make my point?
Allow Kofi make his point.
Very.
All throughout the era of Alex Ferguson, I don't remember Alex Ferguson going through 15 games and not winning 3. I don't. Probably you are not looking at the details.
That's what you mean by it's come late in his career, because some of these
they do that part in their careers they could remedy it.
Pep has won everything. And
come on, what is it that the man can learn again?
That is even the best, because He's done everything there is to do. At his twilight of his career, he's slumbering. I mean, naturally, growth starts progressively. When you get to a certain point, there's in psychology, we call what? The extinction point, where you decline. That's the natural order of progression. That's where I think that is an important conversation we should have, because I think that
he's at that point,
he's closer to that point, because, like Ovi said,
so why would City still trust him? So why would City still trust him?
I think that City trust him because of what he's done in the past and because of what they think that he's capable of doing. I think that in a year or two, Pep will be done.
Sammy, we'll come back to this conversation.
I think that in a year or two, Pep
I am very confident that we'll come back to this conversation.
We should.
We will come back to this conversation at the end of this year.
No, you see, if you sit here and try to tickle yourself and think the City are going to be dominant again, you'll be living in a fool's paradise.
The season is
look, all of these young managers at Brentford, Brighton, they are catching up with Pep Guardiola. Nobody is scared of him. I watched Brighton play against City. Brighton had no iota of respect in the past.
We said
in the past.
About
look,
the Marseille man.
Look, in the past, teams coached by Pep Guardiola had a certain aura about them.
It's normal.
That aura is gone.
It's very normal. Barcelona from 2000.
Can we please move on?
All I can say is
it's very normal.
We saw
through periods.
We saw even Jose Mourinho.
Exactly.
When he hit that patch, he never recovered.
Yeah. So my point. That's why I agree with Kofi. Is he done? That is the conversation we should have. That
has
he got into that point?
To have any conversation. Because I think
he can never be at the top forever. No manager has ever been. So is he done? That's where we should have the conversation.
You think he's not done? Anyway, let's move on. Talking about managers, Ange Postecoglou likely to take over at. He's actually got the job at Nottingham Forest, and very, very likely to be in the stands for that game over the weekend against Arsenal. They are going to the Emirates, and let's look at that game quickly. There's Brentford against Chelsea. This is a team that was flying last season. They've lost Weiser, they've lost Mbemo, they've lost
Christian Norgard,
a lot of their key players that got them a lot of goals. Last season, they lost their manager as well to Spurs. They're playing at home to Chelsea. There's Burnley also playing at home to Liverpool. These are some of the other top games in the league. Let's make our pick and then we quickly move to the other leagues.
I think Liverpool will be too strong for Burnley. Liverpool have incredible talent in that team. You may have your issues with their defense, their midfield, but attacking wise, they're arguably one of the best in the world. They've dropped in, Alexander Isak. I don't think he will start tomorrow's game. He'll come off from the bench, hopefully, because if he's trained with the team the last 3 days, he will still continue to train the team. Liverpool will be too strong for Burnley. I don't expect anything less than a Liverpool win. Chelsea against Brentford, like you've rightly said, Brentford are going through a transition. Do they still have that identity? When Thomas Frank was there, I don't think. The new manager is coming in, bringing in new things at Brentford. Chelsea themselves, for me, I've said that, when we're doing our prediction, Chelsea might just, win the league. But I've watched them a couple of games and they've still not convinced me, albeit I think that they will also be too strong for Brentford. So a win or draw for Chelsea. Arsenal at home to Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, I don't know. They should have found a way to find a common ground between the manager and the owner of Forest to let somebody like Nuno Espirito Santos go. He's built a team that is competing at the highest level, if not for the rules that they encountered a couple of seasons ago and last season. They will probably have gone ahead to even place in the top 4, but even so, they made Europe. You saw how strong they were at home, and even when they travel on the road, all of a sudden you try and break everything down. Arsenal at home, we saw what they did to Leeds United, putting 5 past them. Arsenal are very strong. They have no excuse not to win that game tomorrow, albeit it's the Premier League, anything can happen, but I think Arsenal will win that game.
Well, Liverpool, I think, have not been very convincing this season. Yes, they've won 3 games, but they haven't won emphatically. We've seen them grind results early on this season, and yes, they're going away from home. It's going to be another difficult game. We expect that Liverpool would get 3 maximum points. But this is the Premier League, and you can't really predict some of these games. Chelsea, similar, away from home, they've been getting some good results, but these are games that I think are very competitive. I think one of these 2 games we might get to see, including the Arsenal game, we might get to see a surprise result from one of these 3 games. But in the La Liga, Real Madrid are doing quite well in the La Liga. Xabi Alonso has started really well. And Kofi, Hansi Flick mentioned egos in that Barcelona dressing room. We've seen the issue with Lamine Yamal and some of the issues going on in the Barcelona dressing room. There's some reports about Rashford as well, having to prove himself or his loan spell will be cut short. Let's look at Barcelona, how they've started the season. Madrid doing really well so far in the La Liga, and whether these issues would catch up with Barcelona.
Well, it was always going to catch up. I think the Barcelona have been extremely lucky with some of the results that they have gotten this season. The games against Levante, they should have dropped points, maximum points, and they shouldn't have gotten the 3 points. I mean, fortunately, if you watch the game against Vallecano, I think that was quite a fair representation. Yes, we would want to take away some of the anomalies that happened in that game, particularly with the VAR issue and the supposed penalty. Those are questionable decisions, but getting 7 out of 9, I think they couldn't have asked for a better start more than they have done. You understand? So I honestly think that it's going to be quite interesting how the season pans out for the 2 teams. But regards the kind of things that are rumored to be springing up in the Barcelona dressing room, it was always going to happen. I mean, look, if you have a team where all of a sudden people spring into stardom and then they are treated like they are the best sons, you understand? I mean, giving a huge pay rise, they are giving iconic JC numbers, and then they feel that they are on top of their game. And then particularly you have alpha males clashing in the dressing room, because look, we are talking about 2 potential Ballon d'Or winners in this Barcelona team. There's Rafinha, there's Lamine Yamal. You understand? And so some of the issues that are springing up, I am not too surprised. I think that there again, the manager needs to earn his salary. It's the reason he's the manager of Barcelona. It's the reason he needs to quell every rumor in that dressing room, or every would-be something that would quell their going forward this season. So he needs to quell it. He needs to earn his salary. So Barcelona are having a feel of what Madrid went through last season. You know, when Vinicius walked into that dressing room, there was some supposed rift between himself and
Mbappe.
and then Mbappe, you understand? And then Jude Bellingham, all of those other stories, you understand? So I think Barcelona are going through, it's natural, you understand? It's natural. But regards Real Madrid, I think that the fixture list has been kind to them. I do not want to think that they are playing extremely very well. I think Sociedad will be the first big test for this Alonso project.
It will not even be a test. Yeah. They've been terrible also. They are yet to
Sociedad were playing very well last season. Yeah. But it looks like
they've lost a couple of players.
With the going out of Zubimendi and the others, you understand? They still have some couple of great players at that club. But I feel that based on the history between Madrid and Sociedad, this should be one of the biggest tests that Madrid gets to face this far. I think that Madrid so far have shown that they are trying to build a solid defense, you understand? I mean, with Dean Huijsen being partnered with whichever of the available ones. Rudiger has been terrible. I mean, my stance on that Brazilian defender.
Militao.
That guy, I don't believe he's Brazilian. You understand? I've never believed Militao is Brazilian. So Huijsen together with whoever is paired with, I think Madrid are trying to find a proper balance to their team so far the fixture list has been kind, but there have been some revelations in that Madrid team. Adagula has been a big revelation. I think Chouameni has found another joy playing in that role, that Xabi Alonso role. And then Mbappe is still proving to the world why he's one of the best players in the world. Vinicius, I mean, couple of stints from the bench has come and changed the game. So I am hoping that Alonso clearly knows what he's doing, and he's a top coach. He knows exactly what he wants to do with this Madrid project. So I would want to sit back and look at the game between themselves and then Real Sociedad, and then how it pans out. Barcelona playing at home to Valencia.
Yeah,
I think that they should be able to put those ones in the back. You understand? Barcelona themselves have not been too convincing this season, but I am, all things being equal, I expect them to get 3 points against Valencia.
Well, at the Wanda Metropolitano, Atletico Madrid will be playing home to a flying Villarreal, who have started the season very, very, very well. And so we're going to look at that game in the post-game analysis. In Italy, it is actually some big games. In Italy, Fiorentina will be playing at home to Napoli. Fiorentina having started the season very well. They've played, they have two draws in their games this season. There's also Juventus against Inter Milan, which is the pick of the games in the Italian Serie A. So you catch us on our next episode. We'll be doing the post-game analysis of these games this weekend. We'll come back in our next episode, have the post-game analysis. But remember, drop your comments. It's been interesting today. We've talked about the World Cup qualifiers. We've talked about the Manchester Derby. We've talked about Premier League football. We've looked at the La Liga fixtures, the pick of them. And don't forget to join the Sports 101 Fantasy Premier League. Get your teams ready for the weekend round of matches. It's match week 4 of the Premier League. So join the Fantasy Premier League. The code is right there on the screen. It's not too late to join. And then as well, subscribe, like, comment. We're on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Let's know what you think about everything that we've discussed. You can also give us your suggestions on our shows. Until our next episode, where we'll be doing our post-game analysis and other trending topics in football and the world of sports in general. This is Sports 101.